Probability can feel super abstract, right? All those confusing formulas and weird jargon. But what if I told you the real key to understanding it isn't more math? It's pictures? Today, we're diving into the visual language of probability. Have you ever just looked at a bunch of data where everything seems to overlap and your brain just shuts down? Or maybe you're faced with a whole set of confusing choices and you're trying to figure out the odds of a series of events happening down the line. Yeah, we've all been there. Well, you're in luck, because believe it or not, there are pictures for all of that. Okay, so before we jump into the cool visuals, let's just get on the same page. What is probability, really? It's simple. It's just the chance of something happening. We measure it on a scale from 0, which means it's absolutely impossible, all the way up to 1, which means it is 100% dead certainty. So here's the game plan. We're going to build your visual toolkit together. We'll start with Venn diagrams to handle all that messy overlap. Then we'll map out possible futures with tree diagrams. We'll wrap it up by playing detective with contingency tables. And by the end, you'll basically have a new probability superpower. All right, let's dive in. First up, the toolkit itself, and how we're going to use it to turn all that confusion into some real clarity. And we are going to start with an old school classic you probably remember from math class, Venn diagrams. These things are absolutely perfect for seeing where things overlap. Okay, imagine someone just dumps this list of numbers on your desk. It's from a high school talking about which kids play which sports. I mean, just look at it. It's a total jumble of numbers and totals and messy overlaps. It's a mess, right? So where do you even start with something like this? How in the world do you begin to make any sense of it? This is where the magic happens. The strategy is so simple, but it's so powerful. You draw your 3 overlapping circles for the sports. But here's the absolute key, the one trick you need to remember. You don't start from the outside. You always start from the dead center and work your way out. Okay, step 1. We look for the number of boys who do everything, who play all 3 sports. The data tells us that's 15, so that number goes right there, smack in the middle where all 3 circles overlap. Easy enough. All right, now we start working our way outwards. We're told 35 boys play both rugby and soccer. But wait, we can't just write 35 in that overlap. Why? Because that number includes the 15 kids who also play cricket. So, to find the ones who play only rugby and soccer, we have to subtract that central 15. That leaves us with 20. And that's basically the whole process right there. It's beautiful, isn't it? To find the kids who only play rugby, you take the big total, 107, and you just start subtracting all the little pieces that overlap. You subtract the 20, the 8, and that central 15. And boom, you get 64. What was total chaos is now perfectly organized. You can see everything clearly. Okay, tool number 2. We're moving from a still picture of overlaps to mapping out what could happen in the future. We are charting paths with tree diagrams. Now, before we can even draw a tree diagram, we've got to get one thing straight: the difference between independent and dependent events. It's super important. Independent events are like flipping a coin. What you got on the last flip has 0 effect on the next one. But dependent events, that's like pulling cards from a deck and not putting them back. Every card you pull changes the odds for the next draw. See the difference? That's the whole key. Let's make this real. Think about a supermarket floor. The chance of someone slipping and falling totally depends on the condition of that floor, right? It's only a 12% chance if it's dry, but if it gets wet, that probability jumps way up to 36%. And if it's very wet, a massive 60% chance. The second thing, falling, is completely dependent on the first thing, the floor condition. Okay, so using that, what's the actual probability of a specific sequence? Like, what are the odds the floor is wet and then someone falls? With tree diagrams, the rule couldn't be easier. You just multiply as you go down the branches. So, if the chance of a wet floor is 0.3 and the chance of a fall on that wet floor is 0.36, you just multiply them together. You get 0.108, or a 10.8% chance of that exact scenario playing out. Okay, last tool in our toolkit. For this one, let's put on our detective hats. We're going to look at contingency tables, which are just an amazing way to organize a bunch of data and see if there are any hidden connections. So say we go out and survey 210 people. We ask them 2 things: their gender and whether they prefer soccer or rugby. You get a bunch of answers, right? A contingency table takes all that data and sorts it into this perfect little grid. Everything is broken down, everything has a total.
What was just a list of answers is now clean, organized, and ready to analyze. And because it's so organized, we can now ask a really interesting question. Is there a connection here? In this specific group, does being male make you more or less likely to prefer rugby? Or are the two things totally unrelated, completely independent? Well, there's actually a mathematical test for that. It's called the independence test. And all it says is this: two things are independent if and only if the chance of both happening together is the exact same as the chance of the first thing happening multiplied by the chance of the second thing happening. If those two numbers match, they're independent. If they don't, they're not.
So let's do the test. We'll start with the first half of that equation. What's the probability of someone being male times preferring rugby? We just look at our table. The box where male and rugby cross is 36, so that's 36 people out of the total of 210.
Okay, now for the other side of the equation. We need the overall probability of someone in this group being male, which is 90 out of 210, and we multiply that by the overall probability of someone preferring rugby, which is 84 out of 210. And here we go, the moment of truth. Let's compare the two numbers we calculated. When you simplify them, look at that! They're identical. Both sides equal 6/35. They match. So what does that mean? It means for this group of people, the two events are statistically independent. There's no hidden connection between gender and sport preference here.
All right, let's bring it all home. What we've really done here is given you a kind of probability superpower. So let's do a super quick recap of your new toolkit. When you've got groups with overlap, you use a Venn diagram. When you need to map out sequential paths, you use a tree diagram. And when you need to organize data and test for independence, you use a contingency table. Each tool has its own specific, powerful job. So you have the tools now. You can take messy, confusing numbers and turn them into clear, visual stories. The only question left is, what's the first hidden story you're going to uncover in the data that's all around you?